My ex, Jake, had his arm wrapped around his fiancée announcing their wedding. I snapped a pic, ready to send it to his mom. They look so perfect. Guess you finally got your wish. Just as I was about to hit send, someone grabbed my wrist, hard. Well, still in touch with my mom, huh? Jake's face was dark as a storm cloud. What, didn't get enough from us? The room got deathly quiet. My face went white as I looked up. The music had stopped. I was the center of attention. Everyone knew I dumped Jake for the cash. The year he loved me the most, I took $2 million from his mom, Eleanor. Then, I walked out. No looking back. Jake was furious with his mother, went on a hunger strike, and basically turned himself into a ghost. His buddies, practically spitting with disgust, came to plead with me. I didn't see any of them. Finally, he was on death's door. Eleanor, cornered, called me to play peacemaker. When I showed up at his bedside, he grabbed onto me like I was his lifeline. He was so thin, but his grip was bone-crushing. Maya, you came. You still love me, don't you? I knew it. He was so happy, it was almost painful. I pushed him away, showed him an audio recording and a text message. The recording was me haggling with his mom for $30,000 to talk to him. The text was the proof the money had been wired. His eyes went blank, then he shoved me away so hard, he fell off the bed, coughing and wheezing. Maya, get the hell out. He was on the floor, spitting out each word like poison. I walked away without looking back. Someone spread the story, and I became the town joke. Everyone said I was a gold digger with a heart of stone. Some even said I never loved Jake. I was only with him for the money. No one cared what the truth was. Later, Jake got better and announced his engagement to Tiffany, the daughter of a tech mogul. It was a corporate match made in, well, hell. I received at least 10 invitations to his engagement party, all from his friends. I kept my end of the deal with his mother, staying out of his life. But I knew what he was doing. I knew he and Tiffany went to school overseas, living together. I knew that in 2 years, he finished a joint JD or MBA program at Harvard. I knew how he waltzed into the family business and made all the old-timers eat their words. I knew he and Tiffany hadn't officially tied the knot, but they were practically calling each other's parents mom and dad. It wasn't that I was spying, his buddies were keeping me updated. The saying is, a good ex should be like a ghost, but they wanted to drag me through the mud. Like proving how awesome Jake was also proved how dumb I was. Tonight's reunion was the first time I'd seen Jake since the breakup 3 years ago. Tomorrow, I'm starting a new life. He'll be up in the clouds, living the high life. I'll be down in the dirt, hustling through life's grind. Before coming here, I called his mother and made a request. You can go, but remember what you should and shouldn't say, what you should and shouldn't do. That's what she said. I agreed. I came tonight supposedly with my old friend, Alex. But really, I wanted to ask a classmate, a nephrologist, about some medical data. There were some things I needed to understand before I moved on. I expected Jake's coldness, the snide remarks, the jokes. But I never imagined Jake would turn this reunion into a pre-wedding bash. He and Tiffany were the center of attention, playing drinking games, putting on a lovey-dovey show. The atmosphere was electric. Nobody mentioned the past, thankfully. I got my answer from my classmate. I had to wait because Alex got caught up with other people. I only took one picture and wrote a short message when, boom, Jake was suddenly right in front of me, dragging me into the spotlight. What if I got enough? Or not? I smirked at Jake. Can you make up the difference, hotshot? Maya, it's been 3 years, and you're as low as ever. He looked down at me, his gorgeous eyes cold as ice. His words hit me like a punch to the gut. I looked at him through the hazy lights. He used to be a light, someone steady and real in this weird world. Now he was in a suit, still handsome, but with eyes that looked like bottomless pits. And they showed not a trace of the warmth he once had for me. I yanked my wrist, forcing him closer. Making a scene in front of your fiancé who's acting lower? I was always sparring with him. But the sweet nothings were gone, only sharp barbs. Jake looked like he was jolted back to reality. He threw my hand away, grabbed a napkin, and started furiously scrubbing his hands. It was an obvious insult. I was ready to leave. I looked at Alex and got up. Jake moved, blocking my way. Honey, come meet someone. He lowered his anger and waved Tiffany over. Who's this, honey? Is she special? Tiffany glided over, linked her arm with Jake's, and leaned into him. She was sweet and pretty, definitely someone who'd been pampered. Yeah, she's special. He was looking at me while he talked to Tiffany. This is Maya, my ex who dumped me for $2 million. His voice wasn't loud, but everyone heard him. The whole room changed. I felt this massive wave of shame wash over me. I hid my shaking hands behind my back. Tonight I could feel pain and happiness, but not any weakness. 2 million isn't much. This necklace Jake got me is 10 million. Tiffany's white fingers touched the diamonds around her neck. She also had matching earrings. 10 million. That's 8 figures. Is she wearing a whole house? People were gasping. Laughing at me for being so stupid, trading such a hot and rich guy for just 2 million. Snap! Someone crushed a soda can in their hand. It startled me and I looked. Alex was playing with the ruined can, half smiling. I shook my head, telling him to chill. Jake suddenly laughed. He pulled a wad of bills from his pocket and threw it in the air. Maya, I've got money to burn. But you're not worth it. The money floated down, landing on my face and body. Then scattering at my feet. Better hold on to this guy, little girl, I said, fighting to keep a smile. Duh. Tiffany looked up at Jake, their eyes meeting. Ah, so cute and sweet. They got a kiss. Someone started it, and soon, everyone was yelling kiss. Jake pulled Tiffany into a tight hug, lowered her to the couch, and started kissing her. The room went wild. They were kissing right in front of me. The room was roaring, but all I heard was silence. I puked my guts out in the bathroom. When I came out, I saw a tall dark figure waiting in the shadows. Some people came out of the other rooms, the lights flashing and reflecting off his angry face. It was Jake. My body reacted first. I turned and ran. I was fast, but Jake was faster. He grabbed my shoulder. Running away? Feeling guilty? He squeezed my shoulder, hurting me. I tried to pull away, but it was impossible. Guilty about what? I laughed, my voice a little hoarse. It's not like we have anything left to talk about. Maya, you've been showing off for the last 2 hours and you're saying this now? His voice was cold as ice. Showing off? I can't even go to a school reunion because of you? I straightened up and slapped his hand away. So why were you in the bathroom, throwing up? He grabbed my chin. Are you pregnant or just disgusted? Remembering them kissing made my stomach churn. I had to bite back the urge to throw up again. Not much of an eater, but you can really hurl. He looked at me and smiled. His words made my chest feel tight. Jake, we're done. What do you want? I pushed him, but he pinned my hands to the wall. I should be asking you that. He leaned in. Why are you here when you should have stayed away? His disgust was clear. My blood turned cold. I laughed. What do you want me to say? That I miss you? That I want your forgiveness? He didn't say anything. He probably really wanted to know. Of course. I came with me. I was about to say something when Alex, his voice full of teasing, came in. He'd been watching at the corner. Bro code, Jake. You're over the line. He added. What are you saying? Jake's voice sounded shaky. She's my girlfriend now. I'm older than you, by a year, so why can you get engaged but not me? Alex rolled up his sleeves, making it clear that if Jake didn't back down, he'd fight. Are you together? Jake looked at me. I could feel his glare, even in the dim light. Need a kiss to believe it? I laughed. Whatever. Jake let me go and left. Alex whistled, a sly smile on his face. I was drained. I leaned against the wall, closing my eyes. I told you not to come. Are you happy now? I could hear the annoyance in Alex's voice. I opened my eyes. Some things you just can't ask others to do. When he suggested asking the doctor for me, I said no. I wanted to know the truth for myself. You can't lie about how you feel. Alex stepped in front of me, his hand on the wall. Maya, I've been here for 7 years, and you don't give me the time of day. He was humiliating you, and you wouldn't let me punch him out. Is he that good? You've been separated for 3 years, why can't you move on? He was making fun of me, but I knew he cared. I hugged him, hiding my face. He froze. Alex, you don't have to be my white knight, life doesn't have reruns. He begged me to see him, I wouldn't. Now I'm here, messing with his head. He's just mad, I get it. And I was looking for an answer. I explained. Did you find what you needed? Alex sighed. I nodded. Let's go home, he said, rubbing my head. I'll go get my car, and meet you at the door. Okay, I whispered, pulling away. I saw a figure leave in the distance. On the way home, Alex was silent. He didn't say a word, and I wasn't in the mood to start a conversation. Remember what you promised me. I'm taking you tomorrow. When I got out, he suddenly locked the doors. I was about to say no, but his eyes stopped me. Okay, I remember. I smiled, giving him an okay sign. He unlocked the doors. Alex sped off, and I stood there, in a daze. He and Jake had been like brothers. They were so close. Before I dated Jake, he slipped me a love letter in front of everyone. I said no, and he said he'd never give up. When Jake and I got together, he started dating girls, but they never lasted. I thought he was just playing around. But he started stepping away from Jake and me, and they became distant. I never thought we'd cross paths again. When my parents got sick, he was there, during all those long nights at the hospital. He was my smokescreen, keeping Eleanor from getting suspicious. I have 2 regrets. One is that I broke Jake's heart. The other is that I can't return Alex's love. The cold wind picked up. I wrapped my scarf around my nose and mouth and walked to my door. A car nearby flashed its lights. I could see the driver. It was Ben, Eleanor's driver. I laughed. They were still all over me. I opened the car door and got in. What do you want? Miss Maya, you need to pack. We're leaving tonight. He was professional, as always. I thought the ticket was for tomorrow morning? I looked over at him. Can't Eleanor wait one more night? He didn't respond. He placed his phone on the console. It was on a call with the speaker on. Having doubts? Tiffany's voice came through the phone. She was arrogant, completely unlike she was during the day. Of course not, I laughed. I wanted to know if this is Eleanor's wish or yours. Does it matter? She let out a snicker. Whatever it is, you need to know that she'll only relax if you leave. She paused. And I'll feel safe. Remembering seeing the shadowy figure, I laughed. She was acting like I was some sort of threat. I'm going. I went upstairs. My things were packed, just some stuff I used every day. Done. I looked around. My parents bought this house. We lived here for 20 years, everywhere had a memory. But now everything was changed, even the deed was in another's name. I put the keys on the cabinet by the door, locked the door, and took my luggage downstairs. As we sped away, I sent a goodbye to the new owners. I noticed a text I hadn't sent. My desire to fight was gone. I just looked out the window, saying goodbye. The city lights lit up the dark night, the buildings were everywhere. The city held so many lonely souls, so many laughs and tears. But it was not my home anymore. We went the wrong way. We stopped at Jake's house. Eleanor wants to say goodbye. Ben parked the car and opened the door. Is that really necessary? I stayed in my seat. I rarely came here, but I always remembered it. I'm just following orders, he said. It'd make things easier if you didn't make this difficult. I stared at him, sitting in the car. The cold air made me shiver. Jake hasn't lived here for years, he said after a while. I got out. I went inside and saw Eleanor reading the news. She was almost 50, but she looked young. The chandelier made her glow. This is your ID. Ben will take you to the train. She turned down the TV and gave me a fake ID. The picture was similar to me. Eleanor, you put a lot of effort into this. I smiled. What about my ID? When do I get it back? After Jake and Tiffany get married. She pushed a new phone at me. Until then, you must be good. I knew what she meant. She wanted my phone. My throat tightened. It wasn't enough to take my ID, she had to take away my contacts? What if I don't want to? I grabbed the phone in my pocket. Jake gave it to me 5 years ago. It was a matching set. It was glitchy and slow, but I never got a new one. I was too attached. I won't allow anyone to look at what my son's fiancée owns. She pushed the new phone at me. Don't make me force you, Maya. She made it clear, she didn't want anyone looking at Tiffany's man. I gave the phone to her. Ben, take care of it. Ben took the phone and snapped the SIM card. Then, he bent the phone in half. I watched it break. Thank you for cooperating. Eleanor nodded. If you're thanking me for obeying the last 3 years, I'll take it. My eyes followed the broken phone. If you're thanking me for doing what you want, don't. Life is long, you're young, you need to move on. She nodded to Ben. It's late, get her to the station. Yes, Ben said. I stood up and left. Ben hurried forward and pushed the new phone into my hand. I took it. Maya. Ben was about to open the door when Eleanor spoke. I turned around. Live a good life. No one wants to compete with a ghost. She folded her arms. I laughed. She spent 3 years watching me, treating me like a criminal. She broke my phone, keeping me from contacting Jake. But Jake was too proud, after all that, he wouldn't look back. She did so many awful things, and wanted me to live a good life. I understand. I answered and opened the door. I froze. Jake was standing there. He was tall and looked calm. But his eyes were burning. Jake, what are you doing here? Eleanor looked shocked. I missed home, isn't that what you said? Now that I'm here, you're surprised. He smirked. Is it not okay for me to be here, or are you up to no good? He said, Mother, but his tone was harsh. I frowned. Jake used to have tension with his mom, but he'd still called her mom. He wouldn't even say mom to her, but he called Tiffany's parents mom and dad. What had happened in the last few years? Ma'am. Ben took a step back. My thoughts were interrupted. I looked back. Eleanor was on the couch, her breathing heavy. I got worried. With Ben gone, the room felt small. I could smell the alcohol on Jake. It was too close. I could be reckless anywhere, but not here, not in front of Eleanor. I couldn't be a fool. I backed away, but Jake stepped forward. He grabbed my waist and pulled me to his mother. His arm was like steel. I tried to stay still, but he dragged me to the couch. My dear mother, what a busy night. What kind of deal are you making? Let me listen. Jake forced me to sit down. Let her go home, Ben. Eleanor was calm, but she looked angry. I stood up, ready to leave. But Jake pulled me back down. I'm the head of this family, and you treat me like this? He looked at his watch. Eleanor was glaring, and Jake was overbearing. I was trapped. After 3 years, I had no desire to meddle in their life. I wanted to run, but I had no ID. Without Ben, I'd have no way of going anywhere. We were frozen when Eleanor spoke. You want to know what happened 3 years ago? Let her leave and I'll tell you. You'll just make up more stories. I'd rather hear her side, Jake said. Eleanor laughed. You want to hear her, but will she talk? Everyone looked at me. I'm not into rehashing the past with exes. I smiled. My man would get jealous. Jake kicked the table. He grabbed his fists, his neck tensed. I knew he was angry. But I felt nothing. I knew where to hurt him. I never thought I'd use my knowledge of him as a weapon. Over the last 3 years, I'd completely destroyed him. Let's go. I nodded to Ben. He looked at Eleanor. She nodded. Ben kept looking back, as if worried about Eleanor. If you don't leave, you'll regret it, I said. Ben started walking fast. Jake did not stop us. He's in charge of the company? I thought of Jake's words. Last year, after he took over the company, Eleanor gave him half her shares. Ben was open with me, probably because I'd been good. I see. Thank you. I stopped the conversation. When I was with Jake, he told me everything. I knew his father left him 10% of the shares, and he'd get it when he was 18. His mom had 30%, she gave him half of that, so he'd have 25%. He was now in charge. He'd finally be free from his mother, I thought. I closed my eyes and tried to sleep, but I was too anxious. I reached for my phone. It was gone. I remembered my phone was broken. Ben noticed. I was just following orders. I hope you don't mind. Do I have a say? I answered. He looked ahead. We were going to the next city. Do you have any cash? I asked. Ben opened his wallet. How much do you want? 200. I took 2 bills. Can you grab my bag? He opened the door and left. I put the new phone in the glove compartment, got out and followed Ben to the station. This was my last time here. High-speed rail, then train, then bus, then tractor, then scooter. It took 2 days to get to the small village in the south. My mom's hometown. After my father died, she didn't want to stay, so she moved here. Eleanor lost the last thing she had to control me, so she'd watched me closely. I kept pushing her, until she kicked me out of the city. Now, even if she had my fake ID, she wouldn't find me. My mom said I should live in the school dorms. I contacted a teacher, and she introduced me to the principal. He fixed me a room at the school. That night, it snowed. I had a high fever and felt bad. I thought of Alex, and realized I'd broken my promise. I sighed. I had medicine, so I got better soon. I learned the language and began teaching. I taught English. I taught during the day, and helped my mom with the garden. I was at peace. I was with good people and eager children. They wanted to know the outside world. I told them everything. After people asked if I had a boyfriend, I put away all my pretty clothes. I was content. The internet was slow, but electricity was good. When I missed home, I just looked at the stars. The nights were so quiet. My feelings faded away. I thought I'd live my life like this. But 6 months later, I saw Eleanor again. She was with Ben. The kids were looking at them. I was in my baggy clothes, playing with the kids. She was wearing a designer dress, her face was perfect, looking at me through the school gate. Behind her was Ben in his black suit and an expensive SUV. They were out of place. They weren't here for a visit. They could find me, so I was impressed. I put a taller kid as mom and got out. I thought I was far enough. What do you want? I stood in front of them. There is a misunderstanding. Eleanor would like you to come back. Eleanor was silent, and Ben said this. I laughed. You kicked me out, and now you want me back? I frowned at Eleanor. She looked older. Eleanor didn't mean it like that. Ben's tried to smooth things over. Maya, don't act stupid. I came here to get you, so be nice. Eleanor started yelling. She dropped the fake kindness. I didn't want to play nice either. I lost my pride 4 years ago. I picked a weed. You want it? Here. You. Eleanor was furious. Ben put himself in front of Eleanor. We were hoping you'd come with us. He bowed. Can you come with us? I couldn't be mean with him. Teacher, come join us. I heard a student shout. Coming, I shouted back. You see? They need me here, I can't go. I threw my hands up. I'm happy here, I'm not going back. Maya, don't push it. Eleanor got even angrier. I can't be as bad as you. I was cold. Ben tried to speak, but I stopped him. I'm not going back. I turned. Good luck. I'm busy. I only took one step when someone grabbed my hair. Eleanor was pulling my hair, her face cruel. I lost it. Are you acting like a child? I can do that too. I kicked her. She didn't expect it. Ben blocked her. My hair was free. I felt strands falling out. I was ready to explode. I'm not going back. Drag me back if you want me back. I took a few students and walked to my class. They could act like dogs, I didn't have time. Eleanor made too much noise. Even my mom came, asking who was causing problems. I didn't tell her about Eleanor, so she didn't know. I didn't want to worry her. Later, a teacher came with a letter and a package. It was from Ben. I was going to throw it out, but I saw the writing. It was Alex's. It was his rambling and anger, with one message, where was I? I opened the package. Inside was the new phone, my ID, and some stuff from the city. The letter was from Alex, the package from Ben. Ben didn't say why he was here, or mention Jake. I was curious. I rarely saw Eleanor, but she was always making me go to her. She came all this way, there was a reason. Why was she acting so strange? I wanted to know, but I didn't want to go through that again. I gave my colleagues the gifts, and went to read. I had to call Alex, but I didn't know what to say. I didn't want him to be mad. I was always so strong, but not with Alex. I knew he was the only one that knew this. It was Friday. My mom said she was going to visit relatives. I should stay at school. She kept going away, visiting people. I was lost, so I didn't know what to say. After dinner, I opened the phone. I called Alex. Got something to say? Or are you just going to waste my time? I'm busy. That was Alex's greeting. I could hear noise, it was probably a bar. It's me, Maya. I didn't hang up. Maya? He shouted. Then, I heard shut up. And something breaking. It sounded crazy. It's me. I rolled my eyes. Where are you? He asked quickly. You can't find me. Where are you? He repeated, stern. I said. He stopped me. Where are you? He said one word at a time. I gave in and told him. Wait, he said. Wait was confusing, what did that mean? Before I asked, he hung up. I rolled my eyes again. At 3 a.m. I woke up to loud noises. It was a helicopter. My heart jumped and I opened the window. The moon was up. There was a helicopter. Its lights were on. It was looking for a place to land. I knew who it was. Alex. He and Jake were wealthy. But Alex was more outrageous. I got dressed, grabbed a flashlight, and left. The man who was always at the school saw me. I told him everything was fine, and walked to the field. I flashed the flashlight 3 times, and then kept it on. The helicopter moved closer and stopped in the air. I hid behind a tree, so I wouldn't get blown away. I heard the heavy thud. I stepped out from the tree. Someone grabbed me. Alex was in a t-shirt and jeans, his skin was cold. I smelled cologne. He was showing off. I was about to tell him off when more things fell. I looked and saw packages. Then the helicopter left. What is that? I asked. Don't worry about it, now show me where you live. Alex grabbed my hand. This way, I said. The water was not good, there was no shower. I made hot water and Alex washed. The room was small, I didn't have a couch. He couldn't sleep on the hard floor. I gave him my bed and I'd sleep on the chair. He grabbed me and threw me on the bed. I was going to sleep on the chair. Before I could finish, he lay next to me. He was so tall, the bed felt small. I was touching him. Did I say you could come here? I asked. He turned to me. If you keep talking, I'll do it for real. I said nothing. He started breathing softly. I fell asleep. The next morning, I heard a knock. Alex was the first at the door. I fixed my hair and left the room. Everyone was there. The principal and the teachers. Who's the young man? The principal asked. That's my colleague, I said. I'm her. Alex said before I stopped him. He's my brother. From the south, he added. It was bad. I laughed. After the gossip, the principal asked about the packages. Oh, yeah, I brought gifts. He pulled me outside. The breeze felt nice. I looked at Alex. 7 years had passed, but he was still like this. There were so many people on the field. The students, the old man, everyone was looking at the packages. Alex opened the packages. It was full of food and other things. He really did go shopping. I brought gifts for everyone. He looked at the principal. Can you help give it to them? Of course. The principal was shocked. Come on, let's open your gifts. He dragged me to my room. He had clothes, gifts, and snacks for me. I made bread for breakfast. Before Alex touched anything, I spoke with a teacher and got him a room. He argued, but it was useless. He had too much stuff, so I took everything home. My mom knew Alex and told me to be a good host. I had to. Alex was curious about everything. He asked me to hike and pick mushrooms. He asked me to go to the river and look for shrimp. He started a garden. He was the school's gym teacher. He went to every fruit tree. I thought he wouldn't like it, but he was having fun. Everyone started calling him Alex, Teacher Alex. He never asked about Jake or why I left. He was on vacation. He had so many messages, he got annoyed and shut his phone off. One day, he got a chicken and searched for a recipe He put down the chicken and ran off. He was gone for hours. My mom cooked it for us. That night, he asked me to look at the sunset. His face looked serious. I understood. I agreed. The sunset was gorgeous. The colors were amazing. Maya, let's go home. Alex sat on a rock. I can, I said. But, tell me, what did you agree to with Ben? I knew I'd have to ask this eventually. Who's Ben? Alex asked. That was too bad. Eleanor's driver. You called him Ben Legs. Oh, him. He laughed. He was going to help me find you, and I would take you home. And if I don't want to? I asked. It's up to you. I wanted to find you, not take you back. He was calm, but his leg kept shaking. He was hiding something. Alex, I don't want to go back. I kicked a rock. I don't want to be a kite. I hate it when I can't control my life. Eleanor is a little strong, Alex said. Her husband died young. Her son died, she's alone, and has a big company. I started laughing. She isn't weak, she can do anything to get what she wants. I said. Alex jumped up. Maya, what did Eleanor do? He was worried. She did a lot. Where should I start? I thought about it. You want to start with my dad? He wasn't good at taking care of himself. He wouldn't go to the doctor. He was really bad, and it was late when we found out he had kidney failure. He got a match quickly. Eleanor wanted me to leave Jake. I knew he was locked up, but I had too many problems to deal with. We needed the money, so we were going to sell our house. A buyer wanted to give us a down payment, but he said he didn't want it. The day before the surgery, the doctor was gone. I found Eleanor. I knew it was her. She said if I wanted love, she would ruin my family's lives. I was young and dumb. I didn't think money was everything. I looked for a new hospital and they couldn't help. My dad got worse. Alex, can you understand? I was helpless, my life was in her hands. You know the rest. I took the $2 million and left Jake. Eleanor got the best doctors, but my dad's body didn't respond, and he had to do dialysis. We lost everything. My dad didn't want us to spend all our lives taking care of him, so he killed himself. The sun was gone, the darkness was here. My hair hid my face. Alex, you remember the records you copied? My dad's surgery records? I went to that classmate, not because I needed a doctor, but because I needed to know if Eleanor did anything to my dad's records. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, or let Eleanor know what I was doing. I was worried she'd hurt my mom. I lost my dad, I can't lose her too. Luckily, the records were okay, but I still hated Eleanor. These past few years have been bad. Eleanor was the bad guy, and Ben was her helper. I know you think Jake is a good friend, but I can't be with him, too much has happened, I can't go back. When I was young, I thought love could conquer all, but it's the most fragile thing in the world. If leaving Jake would give my mom and me some peace, I'd do it. I was crying, the pain was too much. Alex held me tight. His warmth was comforting. I was wrong, Eleanor is horrible. But I need to tell you about Jake. Alex's voice was low. I know you hate Eleanor, but Jake is innocent. No one can choose their family. It's not his fault his mom is like that. If his brother hadn't died, he'd be like me, not doing anything. Maya, Jake always liked you, but he was shy. I told you how I felt, just to make him mad. If it wasn't for me, you would have never met, or all of this would have never happened. So, you should blame me. He was listening to his mom, getting married and leaving. I thought he was giving up. But you know what I saw on my phone today? His company fell apart, and a week ago it went bankrupt. Tiffany's family got rid of him. His mom had a heart attack and died. He destroyed everything she cared about. I can't say if he was right or wrong, but he really loved you. Before I left, he told me they had money. Why did you only take 2 million? I didn't know what to say. He said you deserved more, and told me to protect you, and not tell you. He wanted you to remember him, not hate him. He's acting strange, and I get it now. Alex touched my hair. Jake was stabbed, and he's in a coma. Maya, I don't want you to have regrets. Everything around me felt like monsters. My legs gave out. I couldn't feel anything. Eleanor ruined me, but she ruined Jake too. I ran away, but he stayed. He knew he couldn't get away from her, so he became strong. He was obedient on the surface. I was trapped, and he was drowning. He said he was a bird in a cage, and I should help him fly. But he was a boat at sea. He was lost, and I helped him. Then, I cut the rope. Alex said we were together because of him. But what if things were not like this? Maya, you need to know something else. Alex pulled out some papers and shined his phone on it. It was my mom's prescription. She had heart failure. She had been lying to me. She came home because she was sick. She didn't want me at home because she didn't want me to know. She lied about her trips. She was going to the hospital. Maya, even if you don't care about Jake, think about your mom. She has heart failure and needs help from the best hospitals in the city. If you treat her, she can live 20 years. If you don't, she only has a few months. Alex was speaking softly. Let's go home, you don't need to regret it. I couldn't speak. Alex pulled me up. He carried me home. He was talking a lot. Maya, I stole the papers. If she hits me, help me. I already have the hospital ready. I know you don't want to go home, but I found a good hospital for her in the city. Don't worry about the money. It's not safe for Jake to be there, so he's going there too. Maya, I was so happy for the last month. I know you don't like me, but I like you. I'm stubborn, I have to let people know how I feel. And my mom said I'll meet my soulmate when I'm 28. So, wait for me, then marry me. I'm still young, I can wait. And if you don't, I'll find a rich girl and leave, and not bother you. If you don't say anything, I'll say you agree. He was rambling and didn't care if I heard. He walked carefully. I was crying. I gave the prescription to my mom. She was calm. She said Alex was too nosy. Alex probably talked to her. She hadn't been convinced. I talked to my mom, and talked to the principal. He didn't ask, he let me go. I was packing when the helicopter showed up. I rode the helicopter. Alex sent a car for my mom. It was better for her. When I saw Jake, I almost didn't know him. He was in a bed, with so many machines. His face was thin. His neck was so white. He looked pale. He looked so weak. Like a toy. Or smoke. I couldn't hear him breathing. I couldn't see any life. He was so strong. Now he was broken. I stood by the glass. There was too much distance. The nurses helped me put on protective gear. When I was with him, I was always with him. But we hadn't been together for so long. Now, I was with him. We were too far apart. 2 days later, my mom came. She was at the same hospital. Alex got everything ready, I did nothing. Jake was too weak, he woke up after 2 weeks. He looked at me and stayed silent. Maya, you're here. He smiled. He was calm now. He was different. His hand was shaking. I nodded. My mom's not good, she can get better here. Okay. He smiled. Alex knows everything, ask him if you need anything, I hope your mom gets better soon. Okay, I whispered. We were quiet. We used to talk a lot. But it had been 4 years, we didn't know how. I'm sorry about the reunion, he said. I didn't say good things either. I thought about it. That makes me feel less bad. He smiled. I stared at him. Maya, don't look at me like that. He looked away. I was tricked by my mom. I heard so many lies about you. People were talking about you. I found out the truth from Alex, and how much you suffered. Maya, I'm sorry about your dad. I broke my family. I did this for you. Don't hate my mom. Hate is too hard. She's not worth remembering. He spoke softly, with a smile. But he looked sad. He was hiding it, but I saw it. It was too much to handle. I still had my mom. But he was alone. Maya, don't hate me. My life is a mess. I shouldn't have brought you in. If I could go back, I wouldn't have told you how I feel. I would have kept it to myself. He looked at the window. Then he looked at me. Marry someone. He was looking at Alex. His eyes were empty. He gave up. My heart was hurting. I'll get married if you agree to my request. I tried to help him. He smiled. What is it? Fix your company, I said. He was surprised. If you could destroy it, then rebuild it. It has to be yours. I smiled. Don't say you can destroy it, but can't build it. And if I can't? He asked. I smiled. Then I'll tell everyone that you were a coward. You never change. He looked sad. Since you agreed, let's make a 3-year deal. I connected my finger to his. In 3 years, your company will be public, and I will get married. Okay, he agreed softly. He fell asleep soon. I went to say bye to Alex. I kissed him. He jumped back. Do you feel it? I asked. He didn't answer. Hello? I kicked him. Do you feel it? He was blushing. What? I asked. He said, I want more. He was so innocent. I laughed. You can, but not now. I looked at him. Alex, let's make a deal. He was worried. You say. He was nervous. Go travel for 3 years, go anywhere. You were too busy looking at me, you lost a lot of time. So, go, travel, see people and do things. If you still like me, then we'll get married. I was smiling. But don't follow me. Jake and I were in a mess. He needed his own life. Alex was happy, then sad. Traveling and you are not separate, why can't I? He argued. Then I don't want to do this, I said, faking anger. Okay. He agreed. I laughed. He was so easy. Okay, you are free, start now. I patted his shoulder. I'm going. He patted my head. Take care. I will. I waved. He kept looking back, but he was gone. I felt so emotional. After 3 years, Jake and I were broken. He was so good, but he was too much. Now I'm letting him go. We had a reason to keep going. Jake was going to die, I had to keep him alive. He knew I wanted to help, so he was acting like he didn't care. But I wanted to be with him. I was going to be with him. I looked at the sky. The sun was setting. And there was nothing to light my way back.